What's up, everyone? It's Kanan.
It's Jessie.
Holy crap, you're in a video! You scared the crap out of me. Okay, yes, we are the Geeky Sane couple. Yay, Jess is back in the videos. It's always so weird when she doesn't show up in videos for a while because literally every time I record, she's like literally behind me working on stuff and all that. But, not had many ideas for videos that both of us could do. Plus, she's been really busy with commissions and her actual job and all that. You guys know I got a new job and it's kicking my tail. Before we get into the topic of today's video, which is, yes, Bumbleby. We're doing a new Bumbleby video for the first time in months because there's been no news about RWBY Volume 9 for a while. We got Ice Queendom. But, yeah, I think RTX will definitely hear more about Volume 9. But the big news is, next month we're going to Colossal Con, finally again for the first time since, what, 2019?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, very excited about that. We are going to be shooting a vlog while we're there. We're probably going to have to record some stuff ahead of time to go up during that week. But, yeah, exciting times. Alright, so we were originally going to do this video after Volume 9, but since Volume 9 has had, since the hiatus between Volume 8 and 9 has been extremely long, we decided to do it now. Probably going to have an update after Volume 9 is, because, you know, what could potentially happen in that. I wouldn't mind doing other videos like this. Like, I would maybe love to do, like, a top 5 or 6 favorite RWBY fights and all that. And, yes, top 6. When I announced it on Twitter, I said top 5, but I don't like odd numbers. So, top 6. So, we don't want this to be an extremely long video because I got to go to work tomorrow and we don't want to be up all night. And, of course, we cannot fit every single moment from RWBY that betrays to Blake and Yang and their relationship. I'll try and remember them off the top of my head when we do the honorable mentions, but yeah, I don't have pictures for everything because didn't want this to be an hour-long video, though it could be an hour-long video. Alright, so moment number 6, I tried to think of a moment that wasn't too huge but still created a reaction within the fandom. So, moment 6 will be this moment from Volume 6. Now, I always liked this because I remember when this happened. We didn't have the channel up at that time. But I remember when I saw this picture before seeing the episode, and me, like a lot of others who had not seen the episode yet, thought this was photoshopped. Like, because, it's during that time, in Volume 4 and 5, there was a lot of theories going on about how Blake and Yang would interact with each other after being away from each other so long. There was some who even thought that they might actually fight. Don't think it was ever that serious. But, this was a talking point because it was an actual intimate moment between the two that we had not seen really in a while. Of course, it doesn't end very well because, Blake says the wrong thing, but they're also both being affected by the apathy, which we had no idea about at that time.
But it's still a significant moment.
Yes.
So.
Well, yeah, it's, Blake taking Yang's hand and telling her, hey, I'm not leaving, which was the biggest bone of contention for Yang. Was that Blake left without a word, without telling her why. And of course, this ties back with Yang's issues with Raven and all that. So yeah, not the hugest moment, but at the time, it was kind of like a precursor to what would happen in that volume in a lot of ways. But yeah, I remember the first reaction by a lot of people was, is this real? I thought it was photoshopped. So yeah, that's why it's number 6. Number 5 is this. I actually found this is an old picture that I used on my Twitter back when Volume 7 was airing, so I was lucky to find this. So when we learned that Blake was cutting her hair, at RTX before Volume 7. For one, I was very happy because you can ask her. I like short hair on girls, and Blake is probably my biggest crush from RWBY. So I was happy. But me and Jess, and along with everyone else, wanted Yang to react to the hair. And a lot of people were making art of it and including it in fan fiction, but would we actually see it? A lot of people figured no, we won't. Boy, did we get it. So I remember this was very early in the channel when we reacted to this, so it's not the best reaction. We were still using headsets with mics as our mic, and it just was not great audio or anything. But so one big thing was the fact that if you look at the snow, well, actually even before that, if you look at Yang really closely, before they skip to the scene where it focuses on Blake's new scroll, Yang is looking sideways, like, side-eyed at Blake. She is staring at her. And then when they cut to Yang after Blake catches her staring, you can see in the snow that she walked.
Footprints.
Yeah, that she walked over around so she could just stare at Blake. And of course, she gets caught. She freaks out.
Panic.
Yeah, she literally had the gay panic that everybody wanted her to have. And Blake blushes. And, I asked her, is my new hair bad? And Yang freaks out. She's like, no. It's good, great even. It was very awkward flirting. It really was. It was one of the best moments in 7 if you're a Bumbleby shipper, but also it was entertaining. It was something that you could, after you're done with the shock of it, it made you laugh and giggle.
And then learning that, I think at that time, it's also when we learned that that's pretty much how Barbara is.
Yeah.
Like, it just matches. It kind of,
because she has said she's an awkward flirt.
Yes, and in addition to the puns and stuff like that, but it makes that other connection of herself that she's put into Yang. So it was.
Because I think she said once, "Hey, I like that shirt. It looks good on your body," or something like that.
And so it made more of that connection as we've learned more of how much they've really put into these characters with themselves. So it just, I don't know, just added to the whole effect of, okay, well, Barbara really is like this.
So yeah, that's our number 5. That was once again, story-wise, it's not a huge moment. Like, we finally get Blake blushing towards Yang and Yang awkwardly flirting. But we would get more as the time went on. So, moment number 4, all the way back to Volume 2 and Burning the Candle. For a lot of people, this is where they started shipping Bumbleby. And of course, Burning the Candle had a lot of significance, not just in terms of potential romance between the two, but it did a lot for Yang's character, because Volume 1 to this moment, Yang hadn't really done a whole lot, if I remember. It's been a while since I've watched Volume 2. But in Volume 1, Yang was pretty much a bystander to a lot of things. She was almost, in some scenes, just a background character. She doesn't have a huge role in Volume 1. In this one, it finally gave her character development, gave her story. But, also showed similarities, even more similarities between her and Blake. The fact that at one point, Yang could have let her search for Raven control her, like Blake was with this whole thing with the White Fang and Torchwick and all that. There goes a car by. And, yeah, and like the small things, like this scene right here, when Yang goes to hug her, Blake flinches a little bit and she braces herself like she expects that Yang is going to hit her. Which, Yang hugs her and all that. And then, of course, we got the whole, if you plan on coming out tomorrow, I'll save you a dance and all that. The lighting of the scene, the commentary of Monty saying, that they need to use this again later in a more extreme fashion. It's just a real, not just for romantic subtext, it's a great scene for both characters. It gives, it kind of alleviates Blake out of that little like destructive way she was doing things, plus giving Yang more character, giving her a story, a background story. Because before this, she was just Ruby's older sister. Um, so yeah, it's a monumental scene. It's one of the better scenes, I think, in the early volumes. One of the better scenes in the early volumes, and like I said, not just because of it pertaining to Bumblebee, but just for both characters in general. Number 3, we have the famous "We're protecting each other." I remember when this scene happened, and like we were at a con, and we were watching the episode off your phone,
Yeah.
I believe. So we were sitting in this little corridor, could barely hear a lot because people were talking loudly and all that, and just because we tried to watch it in the car, but we weren't getting
getting the reception to watch it because it was the indoor garage, so
Yeah.
we weren't able to hear it because we were gonna play it through my radio, and it didn't work, so
Yeah.
we got stuck there. We were fine at first till some loud people came in complaining about their feet and their shoes.
Um, but it once again, it's an episode that people wanted to see certain things happen and never thought would get, like Yang hitting Adam with her bike, which happened. Um, but there's small things like when Adam sees Yang, he's like, and you can hear the hatred in his voice. And we didn't get the full fight in this episode, but we got a little bit of it, showing that Yang doesn't plan on taking Adam on by herself. She wants Blake to fight alongside her. Yang once again having her PTSD show up, and Adam trying to take advantage of that, and Blake taking her hand, and Yang kind of looks shocked a little bit at first. She's not protecting me, Adam, and I'm not protecting her. We're protecting each other, and as far as reactions go, I think this was the first big shockwave. Because I remember people were just talking about this for even after the next episode, which I should have gotten a picture of it, but we were braced for time. But the next episode after they defeated Adam, you know, them hugging and us seeing the first heads being put together, and Yang putting her hand up to Blake's cheek, and Blake putting her hand over it, and then the episode after that, I believe, where they're on the airship and Yang's comforting her, and then the whole Yang taking putting her hand over Blake's and saying we were there for each other and all that. Like this, Volume 6 just had a lot of stuff. And yes, it is one of the reasons why it's Volume 6 is to this day still our favorite volume. But Volume 6 was just entertaining altogether, between the fight on the train in the first episode, the apathy, all that stuff. But yeah, now I'm sure people are shocked that this is number 3, but that's because Volume 8 happened. I'll just say that. Moment number 2. Not the most happiest moments.
No, but hugely significant.
Yes, hugely significant. So we knew for a while that Erin had voiced a scene where she had to scream. Now, I don't remember if she exactly said that it took her a lot of takes, but that she did mention that it took a lot out of her. And then there was the famous picture of her in the recording studio with a box of tissues standing there. How can a box of tissues stand? Sitting there.
And everyone kept trying to theorize of where this scream that took a lot out of her was gonna happen,
and we didn't know the context. We didn't know if it was like she got hurt. Like a lot of people for a while thought she got hurt and screamed. There were some who thought maybe it would be related to Yang or something else. Well, it turns out the scream was Blake screaming Yang's name. Now, of course, if you watch our reaction to this, I don't remember what your reaction was, but I wasn't that shocked because it was already a big theory going around that Team RWBY were going to fall into
I
the
think
void.
I was at least shocked, like, because in the moment, actually seeing this all play out and seeing her reaction to it was just like, it hit pretty hard. So
I think my reaction was, up, Yang's the first.
where I don't remember what I did,
But, like, this is, the slow motion, the heartbeat, Blake throwing Gamble to Yang that she has done dozens of times, and Yang wasn't aware enough to try and grab onto it. She misses her just by a hair. Yang falls into the void, and at the time people thought she disintegrated, but it was her falling through the dimension, pretty much. And in this scene, you can see, like, the moment Blake screams Yang, there's already tears coming down her face, and then in scenes that come later, you see she's still reaching for Yang, and Weiss has to pull her back because it's almost like Blake
she's gonna go over anyway.
Yeah. Blake crying, and then that turning into anger and her attacking Neo along with RWBY. It's, if Blake runs into Neo before she finds Yang in Volume 9, it's going to be interesting because Blake was out for blood because she thought Yang was gone, dead, like gone forever. And there was even some people in the fandom that thought Yang was dead. But then, of course, next week comes, RWBY and Blake fall, then Weiss is the last one of Team RWBY to fall. And for all we know, they're still falling. Like, I would love it if before that scene we see of RWBY waking up on the beach, if we get a scene of, like, Jean, because Jean fell too, finally hitting the beach and going, I have been falling for... A Loki. I have been falling for almost a year. Because a lot of people have been joking that they're still falling, even right now.
If they do show, like, especially like Jean landing, it's going to be a very Jean-like landing.
Yeah, I'd say he'll land in the water or something,
or face first in the sand.
But so yeah, not the most happiest Bumblebee moment, but very significant in what could happen in Volume 9. Because I've already said, Volume 9 is probably the best opportunity they're going to have a kiss, because they're going to be stuck there probably for most of the whole volume. So they're going to have a little bit of downtime, and RWBY has said that we will get a lot of character interactions in Volume 9. Also, they've said that Volume 9 has some of the most touching and heartwarming moments in the series. I couldn't think of anything bigger than Blake and Yang finally kissing.
For the fact also, it's been, the time between the Nora kiss.
Oh yeah, that happened in
now.
Volume 7.
So I know we were hoping for it in 8, but it kind of makes sense that they would skip a volume. Well, before it would be a better opportunity for it, because that gives space between, not doing one behind the other.
Well, like I've always said, for a brief moment here, she thought Yang was dead.
Well, yeah.
Gone forever. Never going to see her again. I can't think of what else would cause you to just erupt with emotion when Blake sees Yang again. I just don't know, I don't know how it, like I said, if Volume 9 happens and, oh, hi Yang, hi Blake, I will be mad, because that is not good.
Yeah.
But
again, I don't think they'd be buzzing about it.
Yeah.
Because, as much as they're trying to talk about it, but not talking about it, like, it's,
Well, I mean,
there's so much
Barbara.
significance.
I mean, since Volume 8, Barbara's already came out and said Bumblebee was always playing. Heck, we done a video about
Well,
it.
yeah, but I mean, like, for the volume itself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they'd be this excited for what's coming.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of other
If they're-
things they're excited
Well, I didn't mean
about.
this. I meant, like, all the stuff combined. Like, they wouldn't be this excited if big, significant things weren't happening in this volume.
So now it's time for our honorable mentions. Like I said, not every moment is in these because we would be here forever. The first one is, of course, the selfie because it was cute. It was, and also the animator of this scene did confirm to me that before Blake looks at the phone, when she looks at Yang and has a little smile on her face, she did confirm to me that she is smiling because Yang has got her arm around her. Because I said something like that. I said, I love the little smile that she has at first before she looks at the scroll because Yang came up and put her arm around her, and she replied, I love it when fans spot the small things. So, yeah, that's one reason why it's an honorable mention.
It also turned into a meme.
Yeah. Now, this scene I do not think enough people talk about. A lot of people talk about the parallels between Bumblebee and Renora, and for some reason they never bring this scene up. This is from Volume 7, and Yang watches Nora and Ren's interactions and them holding hands, and then once it happens, the camera pans out and she looks at Blake, and I've always said the way Blake is looking at her here, it's very like bedroom eyes, big time, and it's like, Yang is seeing what they're doing. It's like, oh, that's what I do with Blake, and like it's like the wheels in her head are really starting to turn. Which Blake, I think out of the two, Blake is the one that really knows what she wants. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I always like the scene. The fact that that she was watching Ren and Nora and then looks over at Blake like this, it was telling
Blake's
to me.
just straight on staring at her, so I mean.
Yep. Next honorable mention, the putting on the makeup and Yang glancing over at her smiling with this like smirk. This whole episode, they were pretty much going on a club date. A lot of people talked more about, Yang trying to teach Blake how to dance, but to me, this was a bit more because, like, I don't know if it's never been confirmed. It's a theory at all, but a lot of us, including us, want to believe that Blake knows that Yang is looking and she's looking in the mirror back at Yang. Plus, I think this was like one of the first times we ever seen any of the RWBY girls putting on makeup.
Yeah, doing any type of like girly like thing. And what added to the scene outside of Bumblebee was Weiss's reaction.
Yeah.
When asked to anyone go to the movie, yep. She was done.
And for our last honorable mention is a scene that Blake and Yang aren't even in, but they're being talked about. And that is the famous scene from Volume 7 of Nora pretty much confirming that Blake and Yang are more than friends.
Funny enough, I just mentioned pretty much this scene before.
Now, it's one thing for the people that write the show and the voice talent to talk about and all that. But when you have a character in the show, in universe, talk about it, yeah, you are going down that road. And of course, it's a discussion that goes from Blake and Yang that eventually becomes an argument between Ren and Nora about themselves.
Yeah, it was. I think it was kind of clever how they did it, like using a character in show to talk about them to parallel to say, hey, you need to open your eyes here.
Yeah.
Like, think about this.
Yeah, because really, Ren is being very dense and very stubborn at this point.
At that point in time, we didn't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we do, but...
Ren was making a lot of people mad at this point.
Yes, and it was just going downhill from there until we realized that he was just stuck before his semblance unlocked for him to grow more, so he'd actually understand, which, I mean, it's nice to actually see that, but, like, yeah, this pissed a lot of people off, and then we got our Nora kiss finally, which
One of
that's
our
why.
one of our first videos to go over 200 views. Like I think we got over 600 views on that video.
Yeah, and then that's why I said that since they skipped a volume, that's what it would make sense to go into 9 for Bumbleby
Yeah.
since it gave this time.
So yeah, this was big. I think we got a bigger gasp out of this than the awkward flirting gay panic in chapter 3 with Blake's hair. Um, so of course there are way more honorable mentions like Blake fixing Gamble with a yellow mark pretty much on it. Yang being upset in Volume 3 that Blake didn't believe her at first. The fact that both Blake and Yang rode a ship called Pride in Volume 4. And just many other things that have happened throughout the show. And of course, there's other moments in the mangas, the comics. I'm sure we'll get some moments in Ice Queendom. Because it was confirmed that their relationship will be where it was at, around Volume 2, Volume 3. So we'll see. Okay, moment number 1, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows that it is the Volume 8 reunion. Probably one of our most viewed reactions ever because I screamed like a girl and my face got all red and all that. But it's just, before this moment, I don't think we have ever seen Yang blush.
I don't think really.
I don't think we have ever seen Yang blush.
I know we did slightly when she had her little gay panic, but not like this.
Yeah. And like, it was funny. Every other episode in Volume 8, RWBY would throw in little hints that Blake and Yang were missing each other. From it being, Yang asking Jean, do you think she thinks less of me? Jean thinking she was talking about RWBY when really she was thinking about Blake. And it was little other things like when Blake was talking to Nora about, when you're with someone for so long, they become part of you. To, I think it was May mentioning, being, being away from your other friends, and both Blake and Nora reacted because, Yang and Ren went a separate way. To little, very, very small things like when they're in Weiss's room drinking their tea, and Blake, she says, and then she hesitates, looks toward the window, says, I hope the others are all right. I always thought she almost wanted to say, I'm worried about Yang, but it could be anything. It's just the fact that she hesitates.
Her reaction when she finally gets a hold of Yang.
That we were kind of hoping that they would think that they got blown up in the well, and that would have caused.
That's what we thought the scream was.
Yeah, that was one of the theories. Yeah. But then they show up, of course, Yang hugs RWBY first because they're sisters. Then there's the hug with Weiss, which was between the one with RWBY because she spins RWBY because that's her sister, that's her little sister. The one with Weiss was really tame. And then, of course, Yang looks and there's Blake standing alone. Her poor little ears go down because I think it's like she's probably. They're both thinking the same thing, that the other one is upset with the other, that they didn't
agree to stick together and, to do something.
Yeah.
So.
And it zooms on Blake's face, and at that time we're like, oh, what's going to happen? Then you see Yang's hand come up, her real hand, to cup Blake's face. Because before then, only time we had seen her cup Blake's face was with her prosthetic. I don't know if that's a meaning or anything. But it's very small details, like her ears going up. Her eyes look a little dilated in a little bit, and you can tell that she's looking into Yang's eyes. And it goes to Yang, and you can see Yang at first. She's frowning. She's gauging Blake's reaction. Because, like I said, they both think the other is upset with the other, and she smiles, blushes, and then that causes Blake to smile, and then they do their little putting their heads together, and they stay that way for because in the next scene, you got Ren doing his whole "Where's Nora?" and
they're still like that in the
yeah,
background.
yeah,
So
they're in their own little world. No one else exists right now, and I'll say it. Right up there with the Renora kiss, plus what Ren and Nora did in the next episode, and Ren booped her on the nose and stuff like that, and some of the things with Arcos. This is one of the most, like, in your face romantic things that have ever happened in the show. Plus, with Treasure playing in the background, I don't care what anyone says. That is a Bumbleby song from Blake's perspective because lyrically and musically, it has so many ties to All That Matters. And, yeah, so I will always defend until Casey and Jeff say otherwise. Treasure is a Bumblebee song. Because they were really the main focus of this scene. Everybody wanted a kiss, but I don't think it was the right time. I think Volume 9 is going to be way more of a better
which is why
time.
I can see that's also makes sense, and I know we've talked about it probably in our review and everything of the episode and all that. Like, that's why it didn't go to the scene with Ren and Nora, because there was too much of an impact for this scene. You don't want something else to end it with to overshadow it.
Yeah, both got their moments in separate episodes.
Yes, they had their own separate episodes. So it's, it was a nice way to see an episode back to back. Like, we got the Bumblebee moment, and then we got their talk, which confirmed we're not losing the ship.
They're slowing down.
They're slowing down, and
Ren has kind of figured himself out. Nora needs to figure herself out.
So he's going to support her to figure herself out as they slowly grow until she's comfortable for them to continue.
Where Blake and Yang have kind of settled into who they are right now. I'm sure more stuff will come up. But so yeah, that was our top 6 moments with some honorable mentions. Probably going to have to redo this video again after Volume 9. But we'll see. It's like I really don't think Volume 9 is coming out until the fall like it normally does. So we've got some time, especially with Ice Queendom airing this summer. So we'll see how that goes. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, click that like button, leave us a comment, all that good stuff. As always, guys, this is Kanan.
This is Jessie.
We love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.